welcome back to a new episode of A Better You. I am your host, Fernanda Ramirez, and I am so excited for this episode. If you clicked on this video, you are on the right track already. Let me just tell you that. School is right around the corner, if not already. You may or may not actually already be in school, and if that's the case, I'm actually here to make this a lot better. I'm here to ease the stress of going back into school, and I'm going to be giving you the best productivity tips. I'm going to give you tips on how to fix your habits. I'm going to give you some glow up tips. We're going to talk about some time management techniques. We're going to talk about balance. We're going to talk about wellness, and overall, how to have fun during the school year, romanticizing it, making it feel like you're actually in 𝘈 𝘉𝘰𝘦𝘵 or your 𝘈 doing your little studying with your little pink pen, feeling like, you know what, school isn't actually the worst thing in the world. I'm actually blessed to be in school. That's kind of a little bit of a summary of today's episode, but I'm so excited to dive into this. I was actually brainstorming on what today's episode should be, and while I have so many ideas for podcast episodes, I thought it would be a perfect time to talk about this topic, as for so many people around the world, it is time to get into school. And whether you are in high school or you're going into college, or maybe you're past the age of like typical college, maybe around 22, but you're like going back into studying, this can still apply to you. Maybe you're going back into work, maybe you're starting a new job, or maybe you are on the path of self-exploration and self-learning. Maybe you are planning on doing some self-studying and learning some new topics. That's totally chill as well. Whatever situation you're in, I feel like now is the time to talk about these things. And even as for myself, I'm not going back to school. If you didn't know this about me, I actually went to college for like a year and a half, 2 years, and then my YouTube channel kind of blew up and flourished, and I decided to take some time off of school. My YouTube channel just kept growing. It kept growing. It was something that I was really passionate about, very interested in. It took up all my time. And then once I started a podcast, I obviously got busier, and now I'm building out the brand. And like, as much as I would actually love to go back to school because I do love learning, I just feel like at this point in my life, there's other things that are more important to me and that I feel like I can't miss out on. So that is my reason for not being in school. But as being an entrepreneur, a self-employed girly, I know what it takes to be self-motivated, self-determined, self-sufficient, and overall just learning how to get your shit done without having anyone to tell you what to do. I do think that entrepreneurs and content creators do have this skill where they know how to manage their time effectively and not rely on external motivations, and rather bring that energy from within. And I feel like a lot of us have it in common to romanticize the process and love the journey, not just the end result. So I do have, I feel like, a different sort of perspective on this topic, as well as most of my friends, my boyfriend, everyone that I hang out with is in college. So I definitely asked them for some tips as well, so that I can give you guys some other perspectives of people that are in school, are in college, are working. And overall, I did some research myself. I asked you guys some questions about what you wanted me to talk about. And yeah, we've got a very fun-filled episode. I also want to give a little bit of an advice session near the end of the episode to just talk about making friends and not feeling lonely or insecure, or even just battling with mean girls or mean situations. Like, I just kind of want to give you guys some advice because, again, I was in college, I was in high school, was in middle school, and I get the vibes. I totally know what it is. And even though it's not the same thing, sometimes influencer events or just the overall industry can kind of feel like high school. And I feel like same goes for people that work office jobs. It kind of feels like high school too. To give you guys a tiny little update on my life, I have been in full swing of getting my life back together, which is why I'm very motivated actually to talk about building habits and productivity, because I feel like over the past 2 weeks, I've done a little bit of a 180. But let me just tell you, last week I worked out 5 days in a row. I meditated for like 5 days. I ordered my Oura ring. I got the iPad in check. If you guys watched the last episode, you probably heard me talk about a lot of these things, but I feel like they're now finally coming into fruition, a lot of these processes. And I just feel like I've really gotten my shit together. I've been cooking a lot, eating whole foods, not eating out. I even managed to go out with my friends and with my boyfriend, but, opt for healthier options, come home at a decent time, signed up for personal training. I've been drinking a lot of water. I've been watching a lot of content. I finished my glam room. Like, I just feel like a lot of things in my personal life are coming together. And while I've been, forcing myself kind of to do all these things, they do become easier over time. And now I feel like I'm in a little bit of a flow state. And one thing that has definitely helped me is reading at the same time and watching and taking in content that inspires me daily to keep this drive and motivation going. And my recent book that I've been reading is Atomic Habits. And this book is all about building habits and kind of dismantling your old negative ones. And let me just say, first of all, If you're going back into school and you're like thinking, I gotta get productive, I gotta fix my life, I gotta make my life better, I gotta get all my shit together, I highly recommend to read this book, because I will say I read a few chapters of it in 2021, and that was when I was fully embodying being that girl. And boy, do I miss it. That's why I decided to pick it up again. And I said, Fernanda, it's time to be that girl again. No more slouching around. It's time to be that girl. And so anyways, I've got the book here with me. I'm going to talk a little bit about the book, maybe the chapters that I've read, and just kind of give you a little bit of an introduction to it, since it really applies to this topic, as well as if you haven't read it or aren't going to read it, at least I can give you a little bit of inspo with the book. Other than that, it is the beginning of August. As much as I am sad that summer is ending, I cannot wait for the transition outfits from summer to fall. I do in fact have an abundance of pants and cute fall outfits, so I cannot wait for the fashion, as well as I do have some trips coming up, and I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm a little bit nervous since I have gotten my shit a little bit more together. I'm like, I can't afford going on another trip, but I do feel like these healthy habits are going to continue on, and hopefully when I go on those trips, it's not gonna rock my world, and it's just going to be me navigating these new trips with my newfound habits. So I feel like it's going to be okay, but I'm not going to lie to you, I'm a little bit nervous. I am going to LA in 2 weeks, so that is giving me a little bit more motivation to kind of stay on track for at least the next 2 weeks. But anyways, let's get into today's episode. If you haven't already given this YouTube video a thumbs up, make sure you do that. Leave a comment down below so I can read and I can talk back to you and get it going in there. I don't know if I actually said this already in the last episode, but if I didn't, I'll say it again. We hit 400K on the podcast YouTube channel, and I'm so excited. I'm so blessed. Thank you so much for subscribing to the channel if you have already. And if this is your first time watching this video and you haven't already subscribed, make sure you do that. I had a little photo shoot with some donuts that said 400, so that was very wholesome to me, and that is your reminder, if you're listening to this, to celebrate your wins no matter how big or small, because if you don't celebrate them, nobody else will, and you need to be your own cheerleader. I think especially as we grow up and you don't just have maybe the whole classroom cheering for you or your parents cheering for you, if you don't celebrate yourself, literally nobody will, and you set the standard for how you want to be treated. So if you never celebrate yourself, if you undermine your achievements, everyone will do the same. Whereas if you acknowledge yourself, you're proud of yourself, you say it without shame, you say it out loud, people will see that. Not only will they be inspired by you and also recognize your accomplishments, but they're going to be there cheering for you every step of the way as well. So this is my little reminder before we go into the episode. I'm proud of you and I congratulate you if there's something going on in your life. If I'm saying this right now and something's coming to mind, congratulations. I'm proud of you. You are that girl, you are that boy, and be proud of yourself. Give yourself a little pat on the back, because life is not easy. And if you're having little wins here and there, no matter how big or how small, what more can we ask for? Let's get into the episode. Let's start with the first things first. Before going back to school, the very first things we need to do is set the foundation. We need that mindset shift. I want you guys to go into this year with some optimism and just feeling like you're on the fresh start. You know, this is a new chapter. This is time for new change. No matter what happened last year, maybe you had drama last year, maybe you had, I don't know, some beef with somebody, maybe it wasn't that good of a year. This is a fresh slate. This is a fresh new chance. And the world is truly in your oyster. I'm sure you have new classes coming up, which is a great opportunity for you to make new friends, to learn something new, to maybe bond with a teacher, to maybe make a friend that you never thought you would make. Maybe you find a love interest. The options are endless, okay? You have the chance to rebrand yourself. This year, we are going to go into it with a growth mindset and one that believes that we can do whatever we set our minds to and we can create our lives and set the tone for success. You are in charge of your own beliefs, and your beliefs is what creates your identity, which we are going to talk about that in a little bit, but your identity is what's going to pull you through this school year. I highly encourage you, if you are going to start this school year, to make a little vision board for the school year, how you want it to go. You can make a vision board for your academics, maybe a vision board for your extracurricular activities or your hobbies, maybe a vision board for your attitude, how you want to just be throughout the school year, maybe a vision board for your outfits. I don't know, maybe you're going through like a little style evolution, or maybe they can be social goals, whatever. Make some vision boards so you can get inspired and just excited about the year, as well as creating some goals for each of those aspects. I want you to remember that setting a goal at the beginning of the year, like I'm gonna get straight A's, might be a little bit daunting. It might almost be so overwhelming that you're like, yeah, future me is gonna do that. And it's like, girl, future you never does that, because it's you in the present that's in charge of that. So instead of making those huge goals, definitely identify your priorities and what matters most to you and make those small achievable goals in there. If you want to get straight A's, maybe your goal might be to go to a tutor 3 times a week. Maybe it's studying for 2 hours after school every day. If you are starting a new season of a sport, maybe it's to go out of your way and do some training on your own. Maybe your goal might be to become really fit this year, and not only for the physical aesthetic aspects of it, but maybe you just want to work on your cardiovascular health, maybe grow some muscles. Create some goals like I'm gonna go to the gym 4 days a week, I'm gonna do a run once a week, stuff like that, stuff that you can actually track and you can actually see progress. One thing I loved to do back when I was in college was create goals for every single month and plan them at the beginning and also kind of cross them out or adjust them at the end of the month. So I could actually see if I was accomplishing my goals. And not only that, but like I would kind of keep an eye on them throughout the month. And if like halfway through the month I realized, girl, you are not close to accomplishing this, it would kind of light a little fire under my bum to work a little bit harder so that those goals would get accomplished. It is so much easier to set goals that are monthly or per semester rather than just saying that these are still a part of your 2024 goals. Make sure that these goals are aligned with your long-term aspirations. And one thing that I want to remind you of is that when the school year comes, you are going to be so busy. You are going to have a lot on your plate. And so if there are some goals that are more important to you than others through this time, it doesn't mean that those other goals are not as important. It just means that at this time, you are rearranging your priorities and some may replace others in first, second, or third. Now, I will say, if you haven't started school yet, this is actually perfect for you because you have a little bit of time to kind of get your shit together before shit really starts to pile on. If you've already actually started school, then I'm sorry I came to the party a little bit late, but there's always time for improvement and time to implement all of these tips. So the second kind of section that I want to talk about is fixing your habits and the importance of them. Like I said, I'm reading the book Atomic Habits and I've learned so much about why tiny changes make big differences. And like I said, if you haven't started school yet, it's perfect to start implementing these techniques because by the time school does roll around, you're already going to have your new habits created. I also want to say that I've heard online many times that it takes about 21 days to actually implement a new habit that is like set in stone. So if you start now, you're going to be perfect for when school starts in September. And again, if you already started school, it's okay. We're going to do this all together. And, when September rolls around, you're going to be just like the rest of us. You're going to be actually ahead of us. A key section about the book Atomic Habits is the fact that even if you just get better 1% every single day, doesn't feel like a lot. Maybe it's, you woke up 10 minutes earlier than before, or maybe the next day it's you made your bed that day, or maybe the next day it's you swapped out a junk food meal for a healthy meal. Even if you're 1% better every day and you say, what's the point of this? I hardly even did anything. That didn't even do anything. You'll actually end up with results that are nearly 37 times better after 1 year. As easy as it is to do 1% better every day and become this ideal version of yourself, it is also so easy to slip into the habit of being 1% worse every day. And again, this could be actually choosing the junk meal one day. This could be missing a deadline one day. This could be arriving late to school one day. You think that it's not the end of the world because it just happened once, but if you do those little mistakes once every day, after a year, you're 37 times worse. I know that's an obvious, but I kind of wanted to say it out loud for myself. And we do not want to be worse, okay? I almost feel like in some ways I low-key did that last year. I don't know why. I feel like I just did too many bad habits and it was not a sleigh, okay? You don't want to be 1 year from now and think, why didn't I just listen to her? Why didn't I just fix my habits? This is so humbling. You might not be saying that, but that's definitely what I'm saying, okay? So the decision is yours to be 1% better or to be 1% worse. And you have to accept that the result of your life, the life that you have, if you're looking at it right now and you are not happy with it, there's actually nobody to blame but yourself. And of course, there are circumstances that are out of your control. I'm not even gonna not say that, okay? Because some people are luckier than others. Some people get situations that they didn't ask to be in. Some people end up up with the short end of the stick, or however that saying is. Sometimes there are things in your life that are out of your control. I 100% agree. But if there are some results that are undeniably your fault for choosing bad habits, for acting in ways that you know don't benefit you, or for, not holding yourself accountable and thinking, okay, well, nobody's getting mad at me, so it's okay, but you know that you are not acting as your best self, there's only so long you can lie to yourself and tell yourself that it's not a big deal or that it's not your fault. At some point, you have to take accountability and say, if I'm not happy with my results right now, I need to change my lifestyle. And the only person that's going to get me out of that is me. And I'm saying that a little bit rough. I'm being a little bit stern with you. But sometimes it's the way we learn. And for me personally, I actually feel like I get more motivated when I hear it a little bit more straightforward. And so that was kind of the conversation that I had to have with myself, maybe even a month ago or 2 weeks ago, before I kind of started implementing these new habits. And I was thinking to myself, Fernanda, you can't lie to yourself anymore. It's one thing to be sad, or it's one thing to lose your routine, but at what point do you say it's enough? And honestly, sometimes you even do need to hit rock bottom before you change your habits. But I'm saying this to you now, so hopefully you can start fresh going into this year. These slight changes in your daily habits can guide your life to two very different destinations. As it says in the book, it doesn't matter how successful or unsuccessful you are right now. What matters is whether your habits are putting you on the right path towards success. So I feel like if you're watching this video, you're already one step closer to moving into the ideal version of yourself. When implementing these habits, you have to be patient because your life is not going to turn around overnight, but all big things come from small beginnings. So take out your journal and identify all of your current negative bad habits that may be holding you back. This could be your poor sleep pattern. This could be your excessive screen time. This could be your unhealthy eating, your lack of attention to detail while going through your day, or maybe it's even your lack of attention towards yourself and your own self-care that makes you show up every day feeling sloppy, feeling unproductive, and feeling down on yourself. Maybe it's even the negative self-talk, which can actually be so much more harmful than you even realize. And since we're already on that track, guys, stop with the negative self-talk this year, okay? I do not want to hear no self-deprecating comments because it is not funny. People around you don't find it funny. They're only going to feel bad for you, and it's not a cute, quirky way to relate to other people. Now, another thing that I really liked about this book is that it talks about making a switch in your identity. When your pride becomes involved, you take things a lot more seriously. For example, if somebody was trying to stop smoking and somebody came up to them and said, "Do you want a puff of my cigarette?" They might say, "No thanks, I'm trying to quit." And they almost don't even have that self-assurance in themselves because it kind of admits, or they're saying out loud that they are a smoker, but they're just trying to quit, and they're trying, but that's it. They're trying. Whereas if they switch the response to "No thanks, I'm not a smoker," that small little change signifies that change in identity. It's saying that smoking was a part of their former life, not their current life. So if you want to have a true behavioral change, maybe you want to be a better student, you want to, become a YouTuber, you want to be more disciplined in your job, you want to be a better worker, you want to be a reader, you want to be a person that gets straight A's, you need to change your identity and think of yourself as somebody who is that person, not just somebody who's trying to be that person. Then once you think that you are that person, you can start acting as that person would. For example, if I said that I wanted to get really fit, instead of saying, "Oh yeah, sometimes I work out," I'm gonna switch that mentality to saying, "I am a very fit person." So now when I want to go get food with my friends and I choose to get 7 desserts, I can tell myself, is this something that a really fit person would do? Probably not, but that may have slid if I was just saying that I'm somebody who occasionally works out. Do you know what I mean? So you have to kind of switch your identity with that. And I would love, again, if you had your journal, you wrote out some things that you want to be and kind of just made that little switch into your head and created a new identity for yourself so that this whole year you can act as that person. And again, the same way that you can create this identity switch to work in your favor and to create a better version of yourself, doing the opposite of this can actually also create the worst version of yourself. For example, if I start to identify with being a late person, I will always be late because I think of myself as a late person. If you think of yourself as somebody who's not cool, you probably won't be cool. If you think of yourself as a bad student, you'll probably start acting as a bad student. If you think of yourself as somebody who's worthless, I'm not even gonna say it, okay? You do not wanna have that mentality. And sometimes if you need to lie to yourself, if you need to just make that switch into your mind so you start acting like that person, so be it. Eventually, you will start being that person, and that is what we want. Once you have that ideal version of yourself in your mind, you gotta change the habits in your life that will align with that person. This may be going through all of your systems and your routines to adjust what needs to be adjusted. This could be going through your morning routine, your night routine, what you do on the weekends, who you hang out with, how you dress, what you spend your money on, what you read, what content you consume, what you do with your free time. Look at all of those different options and say, how would this ideal version of myself act in these situations? If I want to be a CEO, what does a CEO do during their free time? If I want to be a boss babe, what does boss babe do Friday night and Saturday morning? Do you know what I mean? If I want to be a straight A student, what does Miss Girl do after school? Now, I want to talk about some things that can help you become this version of yourself. Speaking about tools and resources, some apps that I have recently really been into, which I talked about in the last episode, is Notion, as well as you guys know, I got my iPad, so I've been, fiddling around with some productivity tools on there. And one that I really wanted to talk about was this app called Forest. And basically the app Forest uses the Pomodoro technique. I believe that's how you say it. And if you don't already know, the Pomodoro technique is where you study for a bit of time and then you take a break. You study for a bit of time and you take a break. And so basically this app kind of gamifies your productivity, where you have little plants and you say that you want to work for 30 minutes and basically your plant is growing and you cannot use your iPad. It actually won't let you exit the app unless you choose to kill your tree, which who would want to do that, okay? So you have to wait until that time is done and you end up growing like a beautiful little garden of plants and trees. And I think it's a great technique to get yourself motivated and to get yourself to truly focus and lock in. So I feel like that's a great productivity app that I recommend. On my iPad, I also love using GoodNotes, which is a note-taking app, and you can buy different templates to kind of keep yourself on track. They have so many for school, so I definitely recommend, if you do have an iPad and for some reason you don't have GoodNotes, to check that out and see the templates you can buy. I personally purchased a fitness and health planner, and it's got like meal planning every single week, fitness planning every week, and just kind of things like that really keep me on track, as well as having habit tracking apps is super motivating for me. I use this app called Check Calendar, although I feel like it's not the best app, like it's always glitching. So I don't necessarily recommend it, but there's a ton of habit tracking apps that I highly recommend you to get on. You can make your habits range from anything, whether that is a walk every single day, or maybe eating 3 meals a day, getting a certain amount of hours for sleep. I do think that's very helpful though. There are also to-do list apps that are really helpful. I personally just love using the Notes app, but if there is another to-do app or any other productivity apps in general, leave them in the comments down below or swipe up and let me know so that I will know and the people around will know. But I guess my last most used productivity tool is Google Calendar. Recently, I have gotten into time blocking, and this is a great technique for time management, which I think is so important going into the school year, because if you don't already do this, you're definitely probably not using your time the most effectively, unless you're like, awesome and can just think about it in your head. But I'm a very visual person, so having a time blocked calendar is very visually appealing to me and makes me see where my time is being spent a lot better. You can allocate specific blocks of time for each activity or responsibility, and you can make it like automatically go for every week. So for example, if every Monday I want to work out, I can set that, and like whenever I switch through the calendar, it will always have that on Mondays I work out. And I think that's super helpful. And honestly, I almost feel happier. Like the more that I have on my calendar, I'm like, oh my God, I'm so productive. This is so satisfying. I have everything color coordinated. Like, I just love it. It makes me want to fill up my calendar. And I actually think that this is also a great technique if you feel like you're bed rotting too much, just overall laying down too much, on your phone too much, and you're like, I don't know what to do with my time. I'm always on my phone. Do some time blocking, because you'll realize that you actually have a lot more time than you realize, and it'll kind of motivate you or give you an incentive to get off your phone and actually live your life and do the things you got to do. Also, as I'm currently not in school, I'm sure there are more apps that I currently don't know about, or I know that there are some that I personally don't use, such as Khan Academy or Quizlet or like any other studying apps. For that, I highly recommend honestly looking it up online and searching up like best apps for school or studying. I'm definitely not the best person for this, but use your resources, use ChatGPT, use Google, use YouTube, do your own research to find out what apps and tools and resources will benefit you the most. Also, like I said earlier, I've been reading a lot of these productivity books, and whenever I read them, I feel motivated to implement whatever techniques they're talking about, obviously, into my life. So as much as, again, I love reading those kind of like fun books, I do feel like I always circle back to self-development books, and they get me really excited. I also love watching YouTube videos where they talk about their favorite books because it kind of gives you a little bit of a summary / what they learned, their own personal experiences, without actually having to read the book. So definitely watch some book reviews. The ones that are about self-development always leave me with some food for thought. The other thing I want to say is that I have sometimes a very difficult time with being productive as I get really distracted, and I don't know, I feel like my mind sometimes goes from so many things at the same time that it's hard to like sit down and really just focus on what I'm doing. And I talk about this all the time, but like going to a coffee shop or going to a library is so helpful for me because I see other people working and it's kind of like a body double. It makes me so much more motivated to work and to stay focused as I'm like seeing all these other people around me stay focused. It also must have some like frequency in the air, energy. That may sound kind of stupid, but like in the air where like I feel like everyone's on the same wavelength, everyone's trying to be productive. I don't know, but it just makes me feel a lot better. I also find that I am so much more productive when I get ready for the day and I feel like, you know, my hair's out of my face or my makeup is done or I like my outfit. I feel like I'm so much more willing to like sit down and really get into it. I want to talk about the importance of balance and wellness while you're going into this new school year. Now, as you're going into this year, you may be really motivated. You may think to yourself, I'm going to study this many hours every single day. I'm going to get those straight A's. I get it. Okay? I get it. I've seen my friends go through this, but I also don't feel like, I mean, okay, I might not be one to talk because I'm not in the same scenario, but I do think that balance is really important and that studying and being productive should not dominate your life to the point where you're mentally, physically not feeling well and don't have any balance in your life. I totally understand the feeling of being so busy, so overwhelmed. When I was in high school, I did competitive gymnastics and I would train like 25 hours a week. Like I'd go to school from 7 to 3, I'd come home, have dinner, go to gymnastics from 4 to 8, come home, take a shower, do my homework. I'd go to bed at 12. Honestly, I don't even know how I did it because the thought of doing that now at my grown age, I can't even imagine it. But having such a busy schedule, while it is so overwhelming, made me actually work harder because I knew that the time that I did have, I couldn't just use to do whatever or scroll or be on my phone. I knew that that time that I had was very valuable. So I feel like when you do have less time, you have to be able to maintain boundaries and to kind of have your priorities set in line. For me, I was very dedicated to gymnastics, so I knew that having a social life throughout the week was kind of out of the question. I knew that being social was only Fridays and Saturdays, and even then I would have to learn to say no because otherwise I was going to put myself in a hole and I would not be able to act as my best self. I also had a boyfriend and a family that was obviously very involved in my life, and when having so many different aspects of your life that is all kind of pulling your attention, I think it's really important to set boundaries with the people around you and kind of give everyone a realistic warning. Maybe warning is the wrong word, but like kind of letting them know ahead of time, look, I have a very busy schedule, I can only hang out these days, or look, I have a very busy schedule, I'm so sorry, like I'm trying my best to prioritize everything, but like you have to understand if I can't come to this thing, there's a reason why. And just kind of setting those clear limits with your friends, with your boyfriend, with your family, that you do have a lot of priorities and that if you are not hanging out with them, it is not for a personal reason, but because you are trying to act as the best version of yourself. And it's hard to give your attention to that many things and also do well in that many things. I know for me, there were times also where I would give more attention to my school and less to my friends and my boyfriend and my family, and more to my friends and my social life, and I was giving less time to school. And I think that just depends on the person and what is most important to you and what your priorities are. I feel like this goes without saying, but be aware of overcommitting yourself to too many things. Maybe this could even be like overcommitting yourself to too many school projects or like school clubs or school committees. I feel like it's easy when you're starting off the school year to say yes to a ton of things because you think that you can get all of this done, but I feel like slowly implementing more to your schedule as you're getting accustomed to it is the best thing you can do so that you don't overwhelm yourself and just lead to burnout, because burnout is the worst and burnout can come so quickly and it also takes a while to kind of get out of it. So that's definitely not where you want to be. And for me, to avoid burnout, burnout, I always make sure to have a good routine, a good workout schedule, a healthy amount of friendship time because that fuels my cup, some alone time, and overall just doing some self-care. If you are extremely busy and you feel like you don't have enough time to do self-care, even doing a 10-minute face mask once a week can be enough. Even seeing your friend for a coffee work date can be enough. And integrating those like social aspects of your life into ways that will actually benefit you, like productivity things such as like going to the gym together, or going to workouts together, or going on walks to school together, can kind of allow you to have that social connection without feeling like it's taking away from the time that you have for yourself. Remember that when you are young, in your early 20s, you have to be selfish. You gotta put yourself first, and don't let other people make you feel bad about doing that, whether it's a random boyfriend that's like young and telling you need to spend more time with him when you're trying to like do your own stuff, or friends that say, well, if you don't come to this, we're never going to invite you again. Literally, don't let those people ruin your vibe or let you get off track, because the people that love you, the people that care about you, and the friends that want the best for you are going to understand when you need to say no or when you can't go to certain commitments. In terms of balance and well-being as well, I highly recommend going to a counselor or a therapist. I know a few of my friends started going to counseling through their school and it made a world of a difference. So if you have the resource available to you through your college or high school or university, whatever, don't take those for granted, because I'm sure there is so many people that wish they could have them. And I think when you're in school, you get those for free. So definitely use those resources and try to incorporate any way that you can to reduce the amount of stress you have. Because, you know, there was times in my life where I thought being so stressed out was almost like a quirky thing. I'm like, I'm so stressed. When it's like, girl, those are taking years off your life. You do not need to be that stressed that young. It's not doing you any justice, and it's only aging you. Try your best to do all those stress alleviating habits. Get a therapist, get a journal, do some yoga, do some deep breathing, do some meditation, maybe go on some nature walks, do some coloring, take some naps if you need to, talk it out with a family member or a friend. And overall, remember that it's quality over quantity. We are going for longevity and overall feeling accomplished and productive, yet still having that balance and not finishing the semester feeling like you can't even keep going. Now that all the boring stuff is out of the way, let's get into the fun stuff. How to feel good at school, how to romanticize the year. Guys, I've said this so many times, but embodying your favorite characters, your favorite movie, your favorite season, your favorite artists, your favorite songs is so much fun and makes life worth living, okay? Don't just go to school moping around, being sad that you're in school, and reframe those thoughts to, I am so grateful that I get to go to school. I am so grateful that I get to socialize. I'm so grateful that I get to learn, okay? I feel like when I was younger, I was so annoyed by the fact that I had to learn all these things. I remember being in social studies being like, why am I learning this? Okay, now I've grown up. I'm a little bit older, I'm not in school, and I'm out here researching the most random things because I'm like, I miss learning, okay? And I just want to say that because I think when you're in high school, or maybe your first few years of college, you're still kind of having that dread and being like, ugh, I need to go to school. When I am telling you, as an older sister vibe, you will miss that. And the things that you're learning are actually interesting. When you're older, I feel like the people that you want to be friends with, the people that you think are so cool, are the people that are interesting people that know a lot about a lot of things, that are very knowledgeable, that are smart and like intelligent and just have hobbies and have interests. Those people are probably the ones that paid attention in school, okay? Because they actually retain the information. You can ask them questions and they know things about stuff. So don't take that for granted when you're learning it in school. When you're in school and you're learning all this stuff, think about it as, I'm becoming a more interesting person the more that I learn. The more that I learn, I'm becoming a more intelligent person, and this is going to set me up for when I'm older and I can use this to my advantage. I can use it as a flex that I know all of this stuff. There are people that are dying to know as much as you are and that don't have the opportunity to learn those things. So reframe your thoughts. Think, this is so cool. This is so fun. I'm so good at this. And even though academic validation can like teeter-totter to like almost you are riding all of your validation on academics, I do feel like before you go to that point, feeling validation from studying hard, from doing your best, from working really hard is satisfying. You get to feel proud about yourself. You get to feel confident in who you are, your ability to learn, your ability to study. And I think that that is very helpful for your self-esteem. So definitely feel excited about going into school. There's so many cool things that you're going to learn this year and things that a lot of people wish they were learning. If you got to watch a show or a movie to get yourself into that motivated, romanticized state, so be it. So I'm going to tell you guys some shows that you should watch to kind of get yourself excited and inspired about learning and being in school. Starting with my two most obvious ones, Gilmore Girls and Gossip Girl. Whenever I think of fall, I think of Gilmore Girls, and Rory Gilmore is the blueprint. She's so studious, so cute, and she's like so excited to be going to university. So I even love the movie Legally Blonde. I made a little Pinterest board with Elle Woods, and she's just so girly and like excited about school. And if I was back in school, that's probably who I would embody. I also think that having cute supplies is so motivating because you're so excited to pull out your planner and your journal and your notebooks, and it just makes note-taking so much more fun. I remember when I was in elementary school, I was addicted to going to like Asian markets and getting cute little stationery. I swear I have been a stationery girl since day one, and I would like always be borrowing my friends like pencils and mechanical pencils, which is so funny. I feel like I haven't said the word mechanical pencil in so long, but like I need that. I need to go to a little store and just like go buy some stuff. I also feel like going to those like cute little Asian stores, they always have the cutest stationery. And if you're from the Lower Mainland, Vancouver, if you know Henderson Mall, it's like an Asian mall. They have a little like gift shop in there that has like all of these cute little pens. I swear I used to go there every single year when I was like in elementary school, and I had so much fun every time just making it a tradition like with my mom to go get some mechanical pencils, cute little washi tape, cute little stickers. It literally made going to school so much more exciting. Also, when I was in school, I loved dressing up cute every single day. And speaking of dressing up cute, you guys, as much as you want to say that appearance doesn't matter, it does matter. First impression matters. When you look good, you feel good, and you can use it as a time to experiment with your makeup, with your hair, with your outfits. And, you know, people say that going to school is not a fashion show, but if you're a fashionable girl, don't let that side of you just be diminished. Use those days to dress up all cute and go to school looking cute and excited. You can also make your morning routines more exciting by waking up and listening to music as you get ready, watching a YouTube video when you get ready. I feel like that way when you wake up in the morning, you have something to look forward to, and you can really stay updated with the creators that you like. Also, maybe you can learn to make your breakfast and like make them very cute and aesthetic and like in a way that you're excited about waking up and doing this. I know when I was in high school, I was very blessed, honestly, to have my dad and my mom make me breakfast every morning. And even though I wouldn't have wanted this at the time, which was to make my own breakfasts or my own lunches, I feel like if I got in the habit of doing that, I would have been probably a little bit more living alone ready because I would have had that experience. And I feel like the way that I would have motivated myself at the time was if every morning I made something I was excited to make, like an acai bowl or maybe a little cottage cheese bowl or a smoothie or French toast, just like some sort of breakfast that was cute and fun to make. I feel like would have really excited me. Or maybe making like a coffee in the morning with like their own syrups or whatever. Also, going to school, listening to music that matches the vibe of the time. I feel like I always say that, but like it really makes all the difference. I haven't been in high school obviously in a long time, and I don't want to go back, but I honestly loved my high school experience. And the reason why was because I had a great group of friends around me. I really feel like if I didn't have my friends, my experience would have been so different. But whenever I showed up to school, I was willing to make friends. I was there to talk to the people beside me. I was open to going to like events or parties when people invited me. And I would honestly have like blind friend dates all the time, which is now looking back like so random, but like I remember there would be people from like other like sister schools or like in my community, like other schools that I like had mutuals with, and I would just DM them and be like, hey, we should hang out. And we'd go to the mall together, or we'd go for dinner together, or we'd go for food together. And like that is how I made a lot of my friends at the time. And so I feel like whenever I'm scrolling on TikTok and I stroll across someone in high school and like the comments are all saying like I have no friends and I have this, I have that. Again, I don't know how I would be if I was in high school now, because I feel like people that had to go through like middle school and high school through the pandemic probably lost some communication skills. That could have been me, and I could be just like, you know, saying something when like if I was in the situation now, it'd be different. But guys, I'm trying to motivate you. Try to make friends with the people around you. It will make all the difference. Being in your room and like commenting on a random like TikTok account to other people and being like, I have no friends. Like, guys, you can make the change. I'm sure there's other people in your class that are silent, that are quiet, that are waiting for you to ask them how their day is going, that are waiting for you to ask if you can sit next to them, that are waiting for a compliment, okay? You might be awkward in your class. There might be 10 other awkward people in your class. You can be the difference. You can go up to them and say, I love your outfit. I want to sit next to you. I love your vibe. Can I sit here? Hey, are you going to be in my class? We should share notes together. Go out of your way to make people feel special, to make people feel seen, to include other people, because not only will you find a new friend probably, not only will you learn a different perspective, but there are so many people, Gen Z, as I literally am Gen Z, but like younger than me, Gen Z, that I feel like feel really lonely right now. And if you are aware that you can change someone's day, go out of your way to do that. It's not going to make you look less cool. It will actually make you look more cool because you will have more friends. You will have more experience with being social. And everyone that you meet can offer you a different perspective, new ideas, new whatever it may be, okay? I also think that it's really important to make a variety of friends, because I remember when I was in elementary school or middle school, I would get really attached to like a friend group or like 3 friends. And my mom would always remind me, Fernanda, you need to make friends with more people, because if those people decide to not be your friend one day or they're sick one day, you're going to be left with nobody. And boy, do I remember the times where I had my like little group of friends and we'd have some sort of like, I don't know, elementary school drama, and I'd be left in the dust and I'm like, why do I have no friends? Or I had like one best friend, and the day she would be sick to school, I was like, I have no friends now. And that was traumatizing, okay? So the more friends that you make, the more that won't happen to you. And you can hang out with a bunch of different groups. You know, you can get to know different people through different activities. It's just better, honestly. I also feel like now being out of school, it is a lot harder for adults to make friends. So while you are in college or while you are in high school or just like you're in that school environment, don't take advantage of the fact that you have all of these people that are in similar age to you around you, and use that to your advantage. Because honestly, my favorite thing is having friends that I've had for a long time. I feel like I'm really someone who values friendship, and for me, the friendship is better the longer that you're friends with that person. You know, the more you get to know them, the more you get to experience with them, the more you go through together. And so when you do make friends, try to deepen the relationships, try to go out of your way to hang out with them, to text them, to, you know, make them feel like you actually want to be their friend and they're not just your friend for one class. And not only that, but you will probably be friends with them till after high school, and, you know, they'll stay around for that time. I know that my group of best friends, and I feel like I get actually a lot of comments on this, people constantly saying, how did you guys meet, whatever. I met my best friends through literally being in like middle school and high school, and to this day at 22 years old, they are still my best friends. And I remember most of my friends, I literally manifested them. I think I was manifesting at literally age 10, but I remember going into the first day of grade 6, seeing this girl, and I was like, I love her vibe. She's so cute. She's so pretty. She seems really nice. I pulled up my chair, sat next to her, and I said, this girl's gonna be my friend. And guess what? She is still my best friend to this day. There was other girls that I really wanted to be friends with. Asked them to hang out one day. They are still my best friend to this day, okay? So if there are people that you are seeing maybe in your classes or mutual friends and you want to be their friend, don't just assume that they don't want to be your friend or that like they're going to say no to you. Go out of your way to be shut down. Honestly, rejection therapy, the more people you ask to hang out, the less you will feel that it's awkward, and there's just more chances of them saying yes. And if you do get turned down, someone doesn't want to be your friend, don't take that as the end of the world. You know, not everybody is meant to be best friends. Some people are only in your life for a season, maybe for a chapter, for a class, and you know, it's not personal. People are different, and the same way that you don't like every single person you encounter, not even because of anything personal, but maybe they just don't match your vibe. That same way, you can't expect people to be automatically obsessed with your vibe. If you are listening to this and you are shy or you identify with being a more quiet person, that is 100% okay. That's a personality and that is fine. But if you are having those qualities and you feel like you don't want to be like that and you want to be more social and you want to be more extroverted, just know that little by little, things will get better. You will get more comfortable, and it's just a skill that happens over time. I remember when I was in high school, I used to be so shy randomly, and I feel like I would get really nervous, even talking to like boys, as one does when they're 12 years old, 15. But I just remember being so awkward. And it's like, I remember thinking like, I couldn't even imagine not being awkward. And now that I'm older, that isn't even something that I ever think of. So I'm saying this from an older perspective. That will also get better. But go out of your way to challenge yourself to talk to new people, to new strangers, and know that people aren't judging you, especially when you're in school environments. I feel like everyone's just trying to look the coolest, whatever. It literally doesn't matter. And there's more to you than acting like you're all that. Do you know what I mean? This episode is getting a little bit long, so the last thing I'm going to do is I asked you guys some questions on Instagram, and I'm going to go through them rapid fire. Number 1, any advice on how to deal with being put in a different class than all of your friends? That happened to me in grade 8. I was traumatized, but guess what? I made new friends. I made new friends in that class. Did they last for many years after? Not really. We didn't have that much in common, but they were my friends in the meantime. And also, you're only there for a few hours. It's not the end of the world. I saw my friends at break and I saw them at lunch. How to cope with being a loner at school. This is a really tough situation, and I want to say that if you're at school and you feel like you have no friends, I'm very sorry that you are going through this. It is not easy, and I completely understand that, but just know that you are putting that label on yourself, okay? You need to reframe your thoughts and even make it a goal to yourself to ask 2 people a new question every day, to compliment 2 people every day. I'm sure there are other people just like you that don't have a lot of friends who would absolutely die for you to ask them to sit with them for lunch. So look for other people that you see that you have similarities with, or look for other people that you see that are sitting alone and ask them if you can hang out with them. Someone asked the question of how to make a gym schedule with work and school. And for me, I would recommend picking a schedule with working out that is either really early in the morning or really late at night. That's honestly what helps me. And the sooner that I get my workout out of the day in the morning, the sooner I could just get into like my work day and like do all the fun stuff that I want to throughout the day. Or sometimes if I don't get to doing it in the morning, I do like a 30-minute walk on the treadmill at night. Or if you really feel like you can't manage a schedule with working out, just walk a lot throughout the day. I feel like that's a great way to stay fit and stay healthy while it not taking up majority of your day. Somebody asked how to figure out what type of people you want to put yourself around. I mean, I'm sure everyone would give you a different answer to this question, but I feel like the answer that would be straight across the board is pick people that have similar values to you or values that you want to be like. I personally don't want to be friends with people who are mean, who are non-trustworthy, who judge other people like really aggressively. I don't want to be friends with someone who puts me down, who is insecure to the point where they're bringing it out on you. That is not who I want to be friends with. I want to be friends with people that are happy, that are fun, that don't care to be cringe, that don't care to be embarrassing, that maybe like similar interests to me, things like that. Honestly, just think about the values that you have and seek people that have similar values to you. Also, I think it's okay and totally normal to have different friends for different things. You know, not every single friend that I might study with would be my outside friend, and not every single friend that I go to sports with would be the friend that I would pick to go bring home to my family dinner, if that makes sense. Like, I feel like it's best to have friends for different things. And like when you're older, my friends that I work out with are not the same friends that I go out with on Friday night. Advice on moving to a completely new city and not knowing anyone. I literally did this when I moved to Vancouver, and I feel like the best way that I made friends was signing up for a gym membership and joining workout classes, because that way I made friends with people that had similar values and interests to me, and I would see them routinely, and I also made friends with the coaches, and I just feel like that gave me that sense of community. How to have self-confidence. Guys, we're gonna end off with this question. My self-confidence pep talk is: fuel your body, make your body feel good, prioritize feeling good above all things. That's eating healthy, that's getting good sleep, that's working out, that's managing your stress. You will not only feel good, but you will exude good vibes. Go out of your way to do things that are going to make you feel happy, and just focus on living a healthy, happy life. Living a healthy, happy life will give you self-confidence. You will feel that self-confidence exude out of you without you having to put on a facade. You build self-confidence off of achieving your goals, and like we talked about earlier, setting small achievable goals will make you feel good. Don't be around people that put you down, that make you feel like you're not good enough, that talk negatively about others and about yourself. Don't follow damaging trends on social media, and try your best to be around good energy and good vibes. I know when I was in high school, there was definitely damaging trends online, and I feel like you watching those trends can either give into it, or you can say, I know this is bad for me, I'm not going to give into that. Having that said, don't follow trends that are negative, that are damaging to your mental health, that you know are not good for you. act as your best self, and literally everything will fall into place. Honestly, I think I'm gonna leave it off here, but you guys, I am very proud of you for clicking on this episode and for taking matters into your own hands about going into this new year. I have so much faith for you that this is going to be such a fun year, such a great year, a year where you accomplish all that you want. And I hope that for me and for you, we both stick to our good habits, we stick to our goals, and that we feel good doing it, okay? This is a chance to change leaves, to incorporate new habits, and we are constantly learning more about ourselves every single day. So think to yourself before you do something, is this working for me or is this working against me? Is this making me feel good or is this making me feel worse? And let that be your compass. Okay, thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I just want to say last summer I made a little back to school series as well on how to glow up physically, mentally, and my whole podcast is actually about episodes on becoming the best version of yourself and how to become a better you. So definitely take a scroll through my past videos. I'm sure there is something that will help you out, and let me know if there's anything you want to see from me. I wish you all the best this year. I hope you have minimal stress, maximal accomplishments, and I love you and I'm here for you and I'll always be there for you. Make sure you follow the �𝑈 𝐵𝑒𝑡𝑡𝑟 YOU Instagram, and I will see you soon.